Pro Engineer Creo Parametric 4.0 Final Exam. In this video, we're going to take a look at the final exam that's located on the vertanu1.com webpage under Exams. Up in the upper right, just click on that, and you can find the Creo Basics Final. So you just simply click on that, and it should take you to a link that will give you the actual exam in a PDF format. And here you can see the parameters for the clock that you're going to build. It's essentially, this is the clock bezel that body you're going to construct. The dimensions are given. And then you have to recreate this drawing that you see here: front, bottom, left, section view, detail view, isometric exploded, bill of materials, as well as your name. So you want to recreate this as best as you can. So that's our goal here. So what you're going to do under, if you go back to here, you should find under part files, you will find the actual final exam parts. You could just go ahead and grab those and continue on. So once you get those loaded on your system, what we're going to do is I'm just going to start off with a new part file and build the clock body first using the dimensions given. I'm going to go ahead and name this the clock body, so make sure you put a little underscore there, part solid. Hit OK, and select the front plane and go to extrude. Draw the outside diameter, which is 8 inches, and the inside diameter, which is going to be 0.5. So go ahead and change the smaller diameter first, and then the larger diameter to 8 inches. So 0.5 and 8 inches. Okay, now we could just hit OK, and the thickness of this is going to be, if you set it in the upper left corner, 0.75 thick. The number one missed item on here when people take the exam is to put the fillet in. So the round, I should say. So with the round, it's just a 0.25 radius. Put that in right away so you don't forget that. Okay, now we're going to put in the recess for the actual lens. So select this face, go to extrude, and draw a circle at the center. And that circle needs to be 7 inches. Hit OK. And the depth here is going to be a 0.125. And make sure you select Remove Material. And hit the green check. Now you could either select the floor of that recess or select this face so you don't have to do any math, because when you look at the actual drawing you'll notice it's ordinate dimensions, so you have to subtract away 0.125 from 0.5, so it's 0.375. But regardless, if you don't want to run into that issue, which I see a lot of students do, they forget to do the math, select this face right here on the ring and go to extrude, and then you could just type in the explicit value for the depth right off of the print versus making the possibility of making a mistake. So this now scales down to 6.5, and hit OK and flip it. And again, you have to select Remove Material, and the depth of this one is 0.5. It will be 0.5 as long as you selected that face. If it's going too deep, change it to 0.375, and that should correct the issue. Now we can select the floor of that hole and go to Extrude, and we're going to put the digits in. The first digit, we'll just draw a circle up at the 12 o'clock, and it's 0.375 diameter. Oops, I accidentally turned off my number lock. There we go. And it's located 2.5 from center. You'll notice on the print it actually shows a bolt circle, which is 5 inches diameter. That's actually 2.5 radius then. Okay, and hit OK. And the height of this is only 0.1, and enter. Now we could go ahead and pattern that. So select Pattern. Up in the upper left, select Axis, and make sure you turn on your axis display. And now you have an axis in the center that you could select. And now there's 12 digits, and 360 degrees divided by 12, we could type that in, gives us 30 degrees. Hit the green check mark. And now you can turn off the axis display if you like. All right, now the back side, there's a recess that we have to build. So select the back side, start a sketch, and draw a circle in the center. And unfortunately, I captured an equal, and I didn't want that. So I'm just going to select that and hit delete. I don't want that to be equal. It actually needs to be, in this case, 7.5, which turned out just right anyhow. So we're in good shape with that. Okay, so from there, we're going to go to OK, and the recess is just 0.125 deep. And make sure you select Remove Material and hit Apply. Now you can select this face and go to Extrude, and we're going to put 4 prongs on here. But first, let's draw a vertical and horizontal center line. That's so we can mirror this across, because we're going to draw one circle right there, and that diameter is 0.25, and then these dimensions are based 1 inch off of both center lines. So we'll just drag those out so you can see those. And 0.25 diameter. Now we're going to mirror it across. You can only do one at a time, so select the geometry that you want to mirror, click on the mirror icon, and select the center line you wish to mirror it across. Now we could get 2 across here, so just group select those, or control select them, go to mirror, and then select the center line, and it should go onto the other side. Go to Extrude, and the depth is going to be 0.25. Hit Apply, and you've completed your clock body worth, I believe, 100 points out of 300. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and move on to assembling the clock. So let's go to New, Assembly, and we'll just call it the clock. Okay, the first thing we could do is drop in our clock body. So click on Assemble and go to In Session, and you should find the clock body. Hit Open. And we want this to go to the default. And if you don't put the default in, remember, you might have a difficult time getting the cross-section view because it utilizes the assembly plane, the right plane in the assembly, right there, to do the cross-section. Otherwise, if you're a more advanced user, you know the other techniques, don't worry about it. But if you are not an advanced user, because this is the basics class, assuming so, that might be a challenge for you. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and drop in the chrono housing. So I'm going to go to Assemble, and I put on my desktop here the final parts, and I actually have them as granite files. If you are on a commercial license, you could use the granite files. Otherwise, if you're on an educational license, I actually have the part files for you. Okay, so with that being said, there's the chrono housing. I'm going to hit Open, and I'm going to get it close in proximity using the arrows to pull it, and then this little green band just to get it rotated so it looks like it's pointing towards the hole. Now I could select this sleeve here, and then you could actually select either the hole, which might be more of a challenge to select the outside body. Either way, it's going to be aligned to the center line in the middle of both of those entities. And now you could go ahead and align this face of that hole to the hole in the upper right. And finally, let's go up here to Placement and add a new constraint. Sometimes this one's a little more difficult, so sometimes you have to go up to that little placement option and select this face, and instead of setting it a distance, change it to coincident, and it should lock into position. And now we have the chrono housing in position. The next item of business is we're going to go ahead and just verify this. So I'm going to go to the front view orientation and just verify that it's aligned. And here you could go to wireframe, and as long as it looks like, yep, looks like the holes are aligned, we're in good shape. Okay, now we're going to start adding the minute and hour hands. So again, go to Assemble. Let me go back to Granite file here. And I'm going to look for the, we'll go ahead with the hour hand first. And again, it's a good technique to get this close in proximity, just so you can see what you're selecting. All right, and I'm going to go ahead and select the outer ring here to this white sleeve. Okay, and now the black end of the sleeve here, select that, to the back side face of that. If you have to, you could grab the arrows to drag it out and hit apply. Go to assemble. Let's bring in the minute hand. And there it is. Open that up. Again, get it close in proximity. You could even rotate it a little bit if you wanted, using the ring. Okay, and then this one, we'll select this face to the gray surface of that to go coincident. And I'm going to drag it out a little bit because I think it's going to be difficult to select the end face. So this face here needs to go coincident to the white end of the sleeve and hit the green check. And it really doesn't matter what time it locks into, that's fine. Okay, so at this point now we could bring in the lens. And again, I just like doing this where I get it somewhat into its orientation state ahead of time. Okay, now this one we're going to go ahead and select this face here for the ring, and then we could select this outer ring or inner, whichever one you want. Okay, and then finally this flat face is going to rest on the recess that we created right here. Be careful, I have a lot of students, this is probably the number 2 or number 3 most missed item. They select this face, then the lens is just hovering over the surface. You don't want that. You want this secondary ledge to lock into. Hit apply. And now we're going to go ahead and bring in the sheet metal bracket on the back there. So assemble. And select the bracket. Open that up. Oh, and unfortunately, this is a problem because I had earlier bracket part similarly named up, and it brought in what was in the memory buffer. And so that unfortunately is not the right bracket. So let me delete that. Okay, so I've ended up getting rid of that part. I just middle clicked a couple times and selected it and hit delete. Now I'm going to bring it in. I renamed the part bracket 2, so I shouldn't have that issue. So I could go over here to open, and there's my bracket 2. And so now there's not a conflict between parts that are in the buffer. Okay, again, get this close in proximity, and we could rotate this down and then take the blue ring, rotate this way because this is the wall mounting bracket. And we could go ahead and select the underside flat face and mate that to the top face here. And let's get that over there. And now we'll go ahead and select this hole to this hole, and this one to this one. Okay, and unfortunately what happens here sometimes when you're doing a duplicate coincident relation, this is where you have to go to new constraint and then add the next one again. There we go. And hit apply. Finally, we're going to bring in the bolt, and we're going to need 2 of those. So I'm going to go to assemble and find the granite file. There we go, the bolt. Hit open, and there it is. We'll rotate it a little bit. Okay, and here I'm going to go ahead and select this face to this face, and it's way up there. That's okay. Now get the underside of the cap to the top surface of the bracket. Make sure it goes coincident. If it doesn't go coincident, make sure you select it right here. Okay, and hit apply, and one more bolt. And the same thing, the cylindrical face to the open hole, and then the underside of the cap to the top surface of the bracket. Okay, and there we are. So now what we're going to do is we're going to explode this. So let's go to our standard orientation, which should give us isometric, because we want that isometric view for our drawing. And now we have to make an exploded view. So I'm going to hit edit position, and it explodes it automatically to some extent. We're going to use it because it's pretty close to what we want. So I'm going to click on this lens and drag it forward a little bit and spread some of these parts out a little bit better than they were. And then here we could control select multiple items to spread out. Get those out there. And the minute and hour hands are over here. So select those, hold control for the second item, second, third, fourth, drag those forward. And then finally, let's bring those bolts up just a little bit higher. There we go. And apply. Now you can actually do centerline sketches and things. I'm not going to do that right now. But now we have to take a picture of it. So we go to View Manager with the little camera there. And go to make sure it's set to explode, edit, save. And save over your default explode. And then close. Alright, we can turn off explode now. Now we're going to go ahead and bring that into a drawing for the last part of this exam. So go to New, Drawing, and you can just call it Clock. And you empty with Format, Browse, and select a format and hit OK or Open. Okay, we could just click on General View, hit OK. Let's drop in our isometric, and we could even explode it. We could go to View State and Explode. There's our exploded view. We could enlarge it a little bit if we want, but let's see if we have enough space on the sheet. Actually, I think I will enlarge it just a little bit. So if I go over, I can actually change it down there. I'm going to hit OK. Let's see if we change everything by double-clicking right here. We can now set it to, let's change 0.3. There we go. Now if you have difficult time moving it, remember turn off lock view if you can't move it. And now let's go ahead and bring in some additional views. Right click or go to general view, either one, click, hit OK, left click, and bring in the front, double click, and let's see, we'll hit OK. We'll change all the views together once we get these in. So now we could go to project one down as well, click on this, project a bottom view, and now a right side section view, but we'll project. And now to transform that to a section view, just double click on the view and go to sections, 2D cross section, add, bypass this just by hitting done. Type in the label, which is capital A, hit the green check, and now we have to bring up our planes. So turn on plane display, and we got to select off of this front view the center one. There it is. Okay, and once you select it, if you get a green check mark, you got it. It's a little tricky now with this latest release to get that, it seems as though. But go ahead and hit apply, and now we can see our section, but you're not done yet. Go to view display and make sure you turn on no hidden and leave tangent edges as a default and hit OK. Now you could turn off the display plane, and now we have our section view. Let's get this positioned a little bit more center. And now we can make a detail view. So go to Detail, click right in that little area there, get the little X, start at the 12 o'clock for a circle, 9 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 3 o'clock, middle click, and then left click up here to drop that detail view in position. Move that over here. Okay. All right, now at this point, we're going to go ahead and bring up the bill of materials. And again, unfortunately, I don't have my template for the bill of materials, so we'll make it manually here. But note that the template is so much easier if you on the drive. I hope to put it up there. Very easy to insert it. This is all automated, so just be aware of that. Okay, first of all, we're going to go over here and we'll go to Table. Zoom out here a little bit. Okay, and we'll, instead of Table from File, we'll just go to Table here, and let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 parts. So we're going to need 7 down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 plus the label. That's 8, and then 3 to the right. And so go ahead and click and just drop that right up here. Now you'll see it's very large, too large. So while it's still all in a selected state, right click and let's go to height and width. First of all, the width, let's see here. Let's turn on automatic height adjustment, and the height, we'll change that to 0.2. And let's see here. Let's see, column width. Oh, actually, let's go with automatic height adjustment there. The width and characters, 10 is okay right now, but the no, I guess we do have to change the height. So let's change it to 0.125. Let's see what we get there. Preview it. There we go. That's much smaller, almost too small. Let's go with 0.25. And probably 0.2, which I think perfect. Okay, hit OK, and now the first cell here, we could go ahead and select that, right click, and width, and we only need that to be the width, probably around 4. Hit OK, and then this next one over here, select that one, right click, and width, this one should probably be around, let's see, because this is the quantity, again, like maybe 4. That looks pretty good. Okay, so now what we're going to do, we're going to just double click in here, and we'll put in item number. We'll just put item there for right now. And you'll see that the text, unfortunately, is very large. So let's select this, and I think we could select the whole thing and change the text style. Go to text style. And the height for this, we'll make it 0.1 and apply. And that fits much better. Okay. So that's the item number. This is going to be the quantity, QTY. Oh darn it, it doesn't change them all. We'll have to change them all later. Okay, and then find this cell, description. Okay. And we'll put item 1. Double click on the next one, item 2. And item 3. And 4. Come on. And 5, 6. All right. Oops. It's just a little slow in picking up that. Okay. And now we could do all of the text just to get it to to a manageable size here. Let's see, just put 0.1. Okay, that's better. Okay, and the first one, we could go ahead and put in the lens. And then the body. And then we're going to go ahead and put in the minute hand, the hour hand, the screw or bolt, whatever you want to call it, the bracket, and finally the chrono for the chrono housing. Okay, then in the quantity, just thinking here. Come on. Okay, we can fill in the quantities later, just make sure it's okay. As you can see, my computer hung up, but basically put in the quantities, use the notes with the liter and put in the numbers on the actual parts, and then finalize it with your name in the lower right corner here, and that should pretty much take care of it, and also reduce the size of those text digits there. And that would, oh, and then also don't forget to put the arrowhead, the cross-sectional arrow right here, and that should pretty much complete it, as well as transforming those to hinline views. And that concludes this exam.